Live and just want to welcome everyone a little bit later than I planned. I've just got a new camera and I had a few technical issues trying to sort that out, but I think that it's working now. And if you can hear me all right, just give me a little hello in the chat. Nice to know if people are here and if they can hear what I'm saying all right. And what I want to do this afternoon is just share one little kind of nugget with you. And this is a really special time of year for me, January, because 3 years ago, January 2023, is when I put my first post on Medium. And over that kind of Christmas, New Year period, I was thinking about writing online. I didn't really know anything about it. So I did some research, heard of this thing called Medium, and January 2023, I took the first step. So this is like a bit of an anniversary for me. And then 2 years ago, January 2024, I launched my first product and started making money for the first time. So January is really important for me. It's always a kind of bit of an anniversary. And last month, I guess this is another anniversary because last month was my highest earning month in all my time of writing online, about $8,000 or something like that I made. So this is like a anniversary of that as well. But for me, what I want to share with you is that for the first 7 months, if I think about when I first went on Medium, first started writing online, my first 7 months, I just got absolutely nowhere. I got no people reading, no people paying any attention. It was totally abysmal. And I was so discouraged, I just kind of thought I would give up. Obviously, I didn't give up because here I am writing online, launching Irresistible Writer and all sorts of bits and pieces. But the biggest shift that I made in that first year of writing wasn't skill and it wasn't strategy. It was switching modes. And that's what I want to kind of share with you, because in my experience of coaching writers and working with people, I'm not the only one who struggled with this. And I see a lot of people struggling on this right now. I've got a live cohort starting on Monday, the Substack Growth Map, and I know that coaching people through that, I'm going to come across this issue. And so the reason that a lot of writers are not growing and a lot of writers are not making money is not because of their tactics or not because of their talent. It's because of their mode, and they're living in this place. And I wonder if any of you are living here. They live in hesitation mode. All right. That's where they spend most of their time. And typically, this is what they're thinking. And this is what I was thinking in 2023 when I was really struggling and getting nowhere. They think I need to get this right. They think I don't want to fail. They think, actually, I don't know enough yet. They think I don't feel ready. They think the risk is too high. I mean, you'll have something in your mind of something that you've thought about doing. I might launch an email course. I might start on notes. I might start writing posts. I might create my first product or my first free course. Maybe I'm going to switch on paid subscribers. Maybe I'm going to do my live. There'll be things that you're thinking about doing as your next step, but you're living in hesitation mode and overthinking because you're waiting to get ready. You're waiting for the moment. Does anyone else live in that place? Is anyone just kind of overthinking and over procrastinating and they feel that they should have taken action? Yeah, just stick in the chat if you think that that's you. And that was certainly me for a long time. I would live in hesitation mode. And my experience is that you're not the only one. You're not the only one who lives in that place. But if you think about those top creators or the people who are where you want to be, the people who are making the money that you want to make, the people who've got the audience that you would like to get, I wonder if you think that they got there by overthinking. I wonder if you think, how often are they living in hesitation mode? Because everything changed for me when I stepped out of hesitation mode and I went all in a completely different attitude. And the attitude that I adopted was what I call explorer mode. And so explorer mode is where you treat everything as research and nothing as performance. You treat everything as research and nothing as performance. And so you just start to think, actually, I'm just going to explore stuff. So for an example for this, like a couple of months ago, probably about 3 months ago, I had this thought. I was at this conference and I was getting in conversation with a few entrepreneurs, and they were talking to me about how I use AI to write. It wasn't a writers' conference, it was just business people. And I was explaining what I did, and they were really interested in how I was using AI and how I was writing on Substack, how I was growing, all that sort of stuff. And I had this thought as I was talking to them, like, actually, I think probably you might be interested in all the AI tools I use to write because it'd make it faster for you. You'd get more of an audience, etc. And then I was like, actually, maybe there's people in my Substack audience who are interested in this. And in that moment, I could have went into hesitation mode. I could have went in, well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There's a lot of people producing AI stuff much better than me. There's a lot of people who are really advanced in it. I'm not really sure I know very much. I need to get some research first. I need to do investigation. I could have been in hesitation mode, but I didn't. What I did is ask this question. And this is the key to move from hesitation mode to explorer mode. You begin with this sentence: I wonder if. I want you to adopt that in your vocabulary. So I was like, I wonder if anyone else would want my AI tools. And once you wonder, the way you find out is not by overthinking and research and studying. The way you find out is by testing it. And so then a couple of months ago, I just emailed my list, said, listen, I've created this AI stuff. Do you want me to create one for you? And I thought, see what happens. And that is explorer mode, where you just treat everything as data and not as performance. It's kind of thinking like a scientist, as it were. So the way the scientists operate is they treat everything as an experiment and everything as a data. Yeah, so if you imagine like a scientist who's like just found this new chemical, maybe they come across this plant in some hidden island, and they're looking at it and think, oh, I wonder if this can help people sleep. And so they think, well, there's no point in just spending too much time overthinking. So let's give it to 10 people and test if it helps them to sleep, right? And then they come back and they think it didn't help anybody to sleep, right? They don't judge that as a performance. They don't judge that as a verdict. They just think, oh, I found something out. Whereas what writers do and what I do, what I've done in the past is you send a post out, and rather sending out as an experiment, you think it's failed. And you come back, 10 people didn't like that, or failed, I might as well give up. Whereas what a scientist does is think, oh, that drug, that chemical we found, it didn't help people sleep. Actually, I wonder if it'll help people be better exercise. And then they might give it to 10 people who were running, and they would see, and then they would just treat it as an experiment, and they would explore. And this is like the mindset shift. And a lot of people I work with, they're overthinking, because if they launch a product, or if they launch an email course, or if they switch on paid subs, or if they send out a post or start on notes, they see it as a verdict and a judgment whether they succeed or fail, where actually all it is data. And that is the kind of mindset of the explorer. And if you can adopt that mindset, actually, you just end up in this roller coaster of freedom and this adventure and journey where all that happens is progress. So let me talk it through what it would kind of look like. Let's imagine that you write about sleep, right? Or you've had an idea that over the last 6 months or a year, you've really struggled with sleep, and you've experimented with diet and supplements and exercise and research. You've done loads of stuff, and you found what worked for you and what didn't. And then you're on Substack and you're thinking, I wonder, remember that phrase, I wonder if anybody else struggles with their sleep. Now, you know that people do struggle with their sleep, but I wonder if anything I've got to say will help people. Now, let's imagine that the thing that really helped was change your diet. All right. And maybe you stopped eating carbs or something, right? And you're like, I wonder if anyone else is eating too many carbs and if they would be interested in my journey. Now, you can stay in hesitation mode, which is to overthink and think, well, I'm not ready to tell people, or the risk is too high because people might laugh at me. It might be, well, I don't know enough about Substack yet. And you come up with 101 reasons. Is anyone else like this, that they will be like overthinking? Whereas explorer mode is what they were like, I wonder if anybody else would be interested. And they'd be like, well, I'm going to post a note about it every day for a week. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a Substack post about it. Yeah. And you just send it out. And if nobody is interested in it, that's a signal. It's not a judgment. It's just data. Now, the data might be, that means nobody's interested in having their sleep problem solved. Or the data might be, actually, that title wasn't very good, or the way I told the story wasn't very good, or it was too self-indulgent, all about me, and I need to learn how to craft it for other people. You've got to like filter through to work out. And probably well, not probably, definitely, one post is not enough data. So you probably think, right, I'm going to write 2 posts a week for 3 months, all about sleep and diet, and I'm going to see what that tells me if people are interested. And as you're going through, you're not getting much interest, you're not getting rich interest. And then on one post, you write about a supplement you took, and you notice there's a spike. Right. Now, it might be a tiny spike. It's all relative, isn't it? It might be you get 5 views on the ball, but then this one gets 10 views. Well, that's like double, isn't it? So it's all relative. Forget everybody else. A science doesn't look at the results of anybody else. They're just looking at their data and they're looking at their results. So let's imagine you're writing those posts about sleep. You do it for 3 months. And the one about supplements gets a bit of a spike. And you go, oh, that's interesting. I wonder, remember that phrase? I wonder if people would want to learn more about supplements. And so you write another article about supplements, a different supplement this time. And again, it gets another spike. And you go, I wonder why people are so interested in supplements. And you think, probably they're interested. I wonder if they're interested in supplements because it's easy and changing your diet is hard. So then you write an article about that and that gets loads of attraction and you go, oh, I wonder if people would be interested in a 7-day guide. And I could tell them about a different supplement every day that they could take for 7 days. And I tell them what to take, where to find it, how much, some of the pitfalls, etc. And I wonder if people might sign up for that as a 7-day email course. Yeah. Now, you can stick in overthinking, hesitation mood, and think, well, I don't know enough. I'm not qualified as a doctor. I'm not expert enough. It's too much of a risk. What happens if nobody signs up for it? What happens if people sign up for it and unsubscribe? What happens if a work colleague signs up for it and he tells everybody and laughs about it? And then, I'll lose my job. And then, my wife leaves me. And you can get into hesitation, overthinking mode. Please tell me I'm not the only one who has done this. Or you could just go to explorer mode, which is, I wonder, and the only way you find out is by sending it out. So you create the 7-day email course about the supplements and you send it out. And then you pay attention to what comes back. Now, what might come back is nobody signs up for it. That's data. It's not failure. What might happen is loads of people sign up for it, but after day 1, they all unsubscribe. That's data about day 1. It might be they sign up, but after a couple of days, they drift off. Or it might be they sign up and they stick to it for 7 days and you've had hundreds of people go through the course and the open rates are high and everybody's really, really liked it. Then you think, I wonder if people would like a paid product on this, a paid ebook or a masterclass with me. And then you're in the moment of potentially earning money. But do you notice what got you there? It wasn't talent and it wasn't tactics. It was stepping out of hesitation mode and living in explorer mode. Now, explorer mode, you've got to live there. You can't just do explorer mode once, So I get people and they say, oh, I sent some notes out and they didn't work, or I sent some posts out, or I launched a course, or I created an ebook and nobody read it. That's just you don't give up at that point. It's just one point on your explorer journey. That's data that then you need to do something with. And so really, if you're in this, you've got to play a long-term game. Yeah, if you're right, to be honest, if you're going to do it for a few months and then quit, you might as well quit now and go do something else. But if you stick with it, and if you live in explorer mode for 12 months and do a whole variety of experiments, then something good will happen. You may hit lucky on week 3, you may hit lucky on week 6, but actually week 7, 10 months. Just like a scientist, if they keep experiment with that drug and it doesn't help sleep, does it help exercise, does it help this? If they keep working with it, they will find a use for it. Only where they're going to fail if they give up. And so the whole thing is about switching people's thinking. And when I'm coaching people, sure, on Substack, I'm giving people tips about notes and their homepage and posts and headlines and what gets attention and how to craft. And you do need skills. But the biggest thing I find is people live in hesitation mode, So people buy my courses and they'll go through 6 weeks with me and someone will do this. They'll come to the cohort next week and then they'll say I'm just going to complete the course before I do anything. And then I just need to go back through the notes. I just need to digest it. And actually, you don't, right? Once you've got enough, so you do need information, Yeah, you do need to know how to run a course, how to write a post, how to write a note, or how to craft an offer. Get the information. Don't just be arrogant. But when you've got the information, then just move into exploration mode. Just move into testing, and use this phrase all the time. This is the one that I've adopted. I just wonder. I wonder this, and then go and find out. And once you've found out, remember that's just data. It's not a verdict. It's not a judgment. There isn't really pass or failure. There's not success or failure. You've just learned something, and you either gain the reward in terms of cash, or you get the reward in terms of clarity of something, or sometimes you get both. And I don't know, is this resonating with anybody? Is this connecting anybody? Stick in the chat if anybody can kind of relate to this, or whether this is just like my own journey that I've kind of struggled with, or is anybody else kind of living in kind of hesitation mode and getting stuck with that? Yeah, we got one yes. Okay. There's me and Geordie. That's fine. There's two of us who stuck kind of in hesitation mode, and almost like sticking in the chat and kind of admitting. We've got Bob as well, so there's two of us in a sense, like admitting it and seeing other people admitting it and think, actually we're all the same. We're all actually just sitting in hesitation mode, and it's because we think it's a judgment. It's because we think it's a verdict, and it's not a verdict. It's just data. And all the people who come on my courses, I wish I could just like take an implant in their brain, and just so they'll just wonder, and they will just try it out. But only you can do that. And if you want the practical tools, then feel free to sign up for the Substack Growth Match, which is happening next week, or any of my courses. You're really welcome to engage with that. Maybe just send me a DM, send me a message if you want to sign up for the live call next week. That's probably the easiest way to kind of send you the information. But please, please, please only do it if you're going to take action. We've got loads of confessions with people who are admitting there's Vicky costume. That's really important, Vicky, that one of the ways that we hesitate, right? This is really important, right? Listen to this for a minute. So one of the ways we hesitate is we consume more content, and it doesn't feel like hesitation. It feels like progress. Yeah, because you're kind of scrolling and you're reading someone's article. And when you read an article and you get like an idea from it, that's like a buzz that feels like progress. But it's not. Right. Honestly, it's not progress. Unless you know nothing, you think, well, how do I write a note or post? Or how do I get the introduction better? How do I do the homepage? How do I decide my niche? Unless you're getting some information that then you're going to go into practice. Otherwise, actually, it is just hesitation mode that you're living in, even though it feels like progress because you're learning stuff and you're getting information, etc. But adopt that phrase. Hopefully that is helpful for people. I don't want to take up loads and loads of time, but I just wanted to drop in that nugget and think, actually, if one or two people can just change their mindset and move out of hesitation mood into exploring mode. And if you do that, if you make that shift and you think, you know what, I'm going to start operating with explorer mode of that word, I wonder, then send me a message, because I would love to hear your story. I love to hear actually if what I'm doing is making any difference to anybody, and that would be fantastic. But I'm going to sign off and hopefully just dump that on you, and that will just give you a lift. But send me a message if it's been helpful. I would love to know a bit more about your story. But otherwise, you need to stop wondering and start taking action and start doing your research and your experiments and just see what happens. Remember, you're not doing it for a week or a month. Commit to do it for the whole of 2026. Yeah. Imagine you get to the end of 26 and you've just done loads of experiments, loads of exploring, loads of wondering. Then I don't know where you're going to be, but you'd probably be in a pretty good place. Yeah. Anyway, speak to you all soon, and let me know how useful it was. All right. Bye-bye.